Girls can be your ate and your kuya.
We are so back. Hi everyone. I made a lay guide years ago now, but a lot has changed, so let's talk about it. Lay is a mid-range mage character whose abilities focus on summoning and gravity manipulation. Her hero collection bonus stat gives special attack and crit attack damage, so she is an amazing character to max out for the account bonus stats. She has a lethal kit that includes amazing DPS, AoE, and utility skills. Like all AP characters, she has a massive skill tree, so I'll mostly go over the skills I like to use. Starting with first job, you have a fluid mid-range combo with a piercing double and critical attack that does great damage on monsters with a large hitbox. If you dash immediately after the piercing flame, you can do a double dash, or you can activate her advanced dash by holding forward. But before you can do that, make sure you unlock advanced dash and ready stance as soon as you open her skill tree to improve your mobility and to set the foundation for some amazing skills later on. Plot is another passive skill that you'll want to pick up that gives Lei a boost while jumping. I tend to gravitate towards the summoner side of Lei's skill tree, but you should build her more hybrid to get the most out of her kit. Jeeves' Etiquette is a nice one-hit skill that activates quickly, but sometimes I'll take Gravity Ball early on for the delay, range, and because you can use it to hit mobs behind Lei. I always get Lei's summons and max out their passives, but you don't need to unlock or even max out all of their abilities. For Garul, I prefer Breath Fire due to the AoE flame effect that is added by Breath Enhancement in the third job skill tree. Breakthrough gives him a piercing dash attack that is nice to have and also required to unlock one of Lei's best skills, Jeeves' Power Bomb. This ability has amazing DPS, so I take it often in late game dungeons. In terms of her gravity side, Flame Roll is very useful in situations where you are dealing with enemies that have a massive hitbox or with mobs of enemies due to the DOT flame. However, the most important skill you can take for Lei is Inspire. This ability boosts Lei's AP recovery and it can be activated by pressing XX down. Use this skill as much as you can to keep her AP flowing, but just be mindful of the cooldown. Harbinger improves Lei's utility even more by giving her a close range jump attack and a bonus dash attack that lets her fire a projectile after dashing. Bastion Mary is a beast once you unlock Rabies and Bark on the third job skill tree, but for now we will max her passives and unlock her active skills to get another amazing DPS skill, Grim Hand. This ability has a bit more delay, but it eats bosses once you have high enough TA. The main thing you want on second job's gravity side is Barrage. This technique is activated by using XX up and it sends out homing projectiles near the mirror. I prefer Big Eye Explosion for the slightly larger AoE damage. Third job gives us my favorite summon, Haunt. For this guy, you'll only want Curse Dark Red to force Haunt to constantly use a defense debuff on enemies. You'll also want to get all summon buffs for your previous two summons. At this point, Bastion Mary becomes a monster with tons of DPS, and Garul gets an AoE flame plus a provoke ability that causes mobs to target him. But I rarely use Garul after Haunt is unlocked. I prefer to use Bastion Mary and Haunt as my two summons. On the gravity side, unlock Summon Command as soon as possible. This allows you to use summons by pressing C and a direction key. This is super useful for using an ability when all other abilities are on cooldown. We also get two amazing skills on the gravity side. Blockade will be your best friend in many situations, and it can be activated by using XX and clicking the arrow key in the opposite direction that Ley is facing. Thank you to Elites, who showed us that this skill can be used to block many sources of damage, including the fire pillars in TOD 5th floor, and it can even destroy the blizzard in TOD 8th floor. Please let us know in the comments what other monster skills you are able to stop using this technique. Finally, we have Firebird Splash, which sends a swarm of bats towards an enemy, which is great for dealing massive DOT from a safe distance. Now, let's talk about 4th job, Dark Matriarch. This is where things get very fun. We finally get Ley's melee combo, which I prefer because it is quick and works well with her evasion. Here, we also get her downwards jump attack, which helps her descend quickly and do some damage upon landing. Again, we unlock Ley's summon, but I ignore all his active commands because I prefer the summon AI. I also unlock Jeeves' Destructor ability for the extra damage. Now, the abilities on the bottom of this skill tree are where the real fun happens. Creature buff gives Ley a 20-second stat buff based on the summon she uses. Coincidentally, Haunt and Bastion give the best buffs, so use them often to keep that damage going. However, Jeeves and Garul give nice support buffs, so use them as needed. Jeeves' HP recovery buff can really come in clutch in dungeons where HP potions are not available. Next, unlock Creature MP Cost Reduction. I think this is self-explanatory. And finally, Random Summon. This randomly summons 2 of your creatures at the start of the game, 1 flying and 1 ground. Please note you can only use 1 ground summon and 1 flying summon at the same time. So for example, if you try to summon Haunt and Garul, the first summon will die. We also get our last XX technique, Dark Flame. This launches a projectile by using XX and the arrow key in the direction that Ley is facing. On the gravity side, we get lots of amazing skills. The only one I don't use is Flawless Attack, but let's talk about the others. Dark Luminous is nice for AoE damage around Ley, and Netherwind is great for repositioning. Half Moon is an amazing one-hit skill similar to Lyre's Dance Tempest. Real Dark is one of my favorite skills. This ability has a massive vertical hitbox and damage starts a bit above Ley, so you can use this from under enemies. Havoc is a nice skill to use for AoE damage and clearing mobs. I rarely use it, but I love the animation, so I'll bring it with me sometimes for speedrunning lower level dungeons. Finally, let's talk about 4 MP skills. On Target is amazing for DOT and clearing rooms, especially if you have high TA. This is another skill that lets you deal massive damage from a safe distance. Mortality is perfect for annihilating bosses with its quick one-hit laser attack. Ley's Awakening skill, Last Destruction, is beautiful and powerful. Use this to decimate bosses when you know you can land a bunch of hits. Now, before we wrap up, I wanted to give some general gameplay tips for Ley. Always use Inspire when you are low on AP and keep an eye on the cooldown. Also, because of Inspire, it is recommended that your Ley has 90% to 100% MP recovery, or up to 130% if you're really crazy, so that you can spam skills more easily. Make sure you also max out Reduce Skill Cooltime on her Chase Point page for even more fun. Set up a barrage near the center of the room or close to mobs to get the most damage out of this technique. The same advice applies to On Target and Firebird Splash, although you can move around with Firebird Splash. Don't forget to use your summons. They are stronger than you think and give you 20-second buffs. If all your skills are on cooldown, or you have low MP, remember, you can always use your summon command to use a summon without worrying about cooldown. Just note, if you are being slowed down, like in Tower of Disappearance 10th floor, your summon command is also slowed and takes about 5 to 7 seconds to activate. Finally, test out Barrage on everything to see what types of attacks you can block. And again, please let us know in the comments what attacks you blocked with Barrage. And that's all. Ley is one of my favorite characters, so I hope this guide helps you all see the vision I've always seen. As always, please ask any questions and leave your tips in the comments. Also, very special thanks to my adding Elites for helping me write this video and for helping me record the clips used in this video. If you ever see him in Grand Chase, please tell him thank you. Also, don't forget, I try to stream every day, so do your big one and join the Discord and subscribe to get notified when I go live. Links are in the description and the bio. Bye! She killed Dr. Molly!